like songs that are a little, what we call sexy. You can see from the title, it's more of a love album.
Welcome to another week of Manversations 2020. Appreciate everybody for tuning in at this late hour. I know it's been off the schedule hour, but as you guys know, the AFC and NFC championship games were today that determined who went into the Super Bowl. So definitely Major's team, which is San Francisco, won. That was the late game, so he was watching that late game, and we had to do the show afterwards, so we could present to you guys something without any interruption and everybody full attention on tonight's show. So that's one of the reasons why we had a late show today, which, as you guys know, football only comes a certain time of the year. So we make adjustments around that time of the year because the fellas know that's where it's at. After that, we get into the golf and tennis, which is something that I don't get into. But I do other things during that time until football season start back again.
It's Major's time of the year.
Don't forget basketball.
No, I'm not huge on basketball.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because the thing about it, the reason why I like football more than basketball is the fact that football players really be in the game playing because they only have 17 games, now 18 games per season. So 17, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they extended an extra game for what? What was it? I thought they extended an extra game.
Every team has a bye week. So they use
17
that bye week.
has a bye week. Okay.
Yeah, 17 and a bye week. That's the 18.
Oh, 17 and a bye week. Okay.
Right.
So no, the reason they pretty much play on the field majority of the time. With basketball, a lot of times they sit, they play how many games they play? Like damn near
82.
82? Yeah, they play a lot of games.
They play a lot.
And sometimes they'll sit those players for 5-6 games, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really get to see the highlighted players. They play when they want to play or play them because they got to rest them up for the playoffs and stuff like that. So a lot of times, a lot of those players, they just sit a lot of times. So you don't really get to see them in and out, day in, day out action like football. So, basketball is just a little something just to watch. I enjoy it, but I don't love it over football.
Right, me neither. But to me, basketball season doesn't even start until football season is over. That's how I look at it for that same reason. You know what I'm saying? It's good. I like it, but it ain't football. Nothing is football. You dig? So, yeah.
Correct.
Niner gang! West side!
So
somebody happy.
You already know.
He got a lot of energy, boy, because his team won. Our team sat out. Our team exit early. I know my homeboy. I know he's feeling it because my homeboy Beezy, he's a Baltimore Raven fan, but his girl is a Niner fan. So I thought both of them was gonna be sitting home the way the Lions started out, and I was like, okay. At least they be dead even. Both of them get knocked out. At least the household. But her team advanced and his didn't. So I can just imagine what that household is about looking like right now.
To that household.
Yeah.
So
going down.
Yeah. So
they did.
That's funny. But yeah, for the most part, you know what I'm saying? Just so glad that we come down to the Super Bowl, but also a sad season. A sad part because now we got to wait some months before we crank back up again. But you know what's so crazy is that I was gonna put a bet on the game.
Really?
And I was gonna bet the odds that they have for Kansas City was pretty high, and I was like, it's hard to beat Andy Reid's dog in playoffs, dog. I just had a feeling he had a game plan for Lamar.
And Patrick Mahomes. They haven't played well all year. And
voila. but the playoff Andy Reeves is just another Andy Reeves, man.
Yeah.
The only thing that really hindered Andy Reid's career was a good quarterback. Now that he got one, you see what he's doing. Right. You know what I'm saying? These definitely, man, and that was super dope.
They've been to the Super Bowl they've been to the damn Super Bowl the last 4 out of 5 years, bro. Kansas City. They're scary
because he has a good quarterback, a real good quarterback, and Andy Reeves is pretty good because he's working with receivers that are subpar. Really, to be honest with you, they're not really gangster receivers like that, and that's what makes it impressive. And I know Tony, Kadarius Toney, I don't think he's going to be on the team next year. They benched him, and he got mad and said, "I was a healthy scratch." Yeah, because it's a championship game. They don't want you to do no bonehead plays where you dropping balls that cost them the game.
Real talk.
So Andy
Right.
Reid, that's a hard decision for a coach to do.
Captain Brickfingers.
Real
Yeah,
talk.
and for Andy Reid to bench him like that says a lot about Andy Reid. Like, he takes this shit serious. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's coming to deliver.
Yeah.
So
real talk.
shout out to Andy Reid. I actually think that Andy Reid, to me, and that's just my opinion, I just feel like Andy Reid is a little bit better, in my opinion, than Belichick. That's just my opinion.
That's a good argument. That's a argument worth, that ain't no bullshit argument.
Well,
yeah,
you got to take a look at the results when you talk about a franchise like the Patriots. Much as I dislike them, got to call a spade a spade. They've been that team for the longest time, but once what's his face, Tamira and the team parted ways, Tamira headed right on down to Tampa Bay, and right away, championship.
Yeah,
Devil's sick. We haven't seen anything pop off since, and for the most part, the cast was left intact, other than Brady. So,
yeah,
real talk.
And the thing about it, and that's no hit to Brady. You know what I'm saying? Brady has some great receivers over there. You know what I mean? They had a nice little defense.
For me, it's hate towards Brady. No. For me, it's hate towards Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah. I own that. Mm-hmm.
you said your take. You said say that again.
I said for me it is hate towards Brady. Absolutely, it's hate.
Mm-hmm.
No. It's not hate against Brady.
For me, it is.
He said for him.
What Clayton Bigsby said? If you got hate in your heart, let it out.
No. There's no hate. There's no hate for Brady. I give Brady his props.
No, I give him his props.
But the thing about it is, when it comes down to the coach, I just feel like with Andy Reid's a little bit better with the coaching, because what he did for the teams that he was with, even when he was over there with Philly, and Donovan, he did a phenomenal job over there, building that Philly franchise back, putting them back on the map. You know what I'm saying? He did a lot of great things that I think he doesn't get enough credit for. Because he never had that A1 quarterback like that. You know what I mean? So now he has that, and he's pretty good. And you got to understand, there's also a ding to the Patriots as well, because they had what's his name over there? What was the coordinator? The offense, the OC, Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
And he got dinged for cheating. Remember when he was over there at New England, they got the Spygate. Remember that scandal came out. Then when he went to Denver, he got caught spying on people again.
This is why I always put an asterisk next to Brady, the GOAT status or whatever. I know he is still great, but there's a little asterisk next to that shit, because that Deflategate and the other Spygate, too many scandals while he was
all kind of gates. White picket gate. Electronic gate, every gate.
Joe Montana never had
Bill Gates, all them gates.
Montana never had them scandals, so But yeah, so let's get it. Let's get
Definitely. It. All right, so tonight's show, I definitely wanted to break down tonight's show as far as off the gate, off rip. I wanted to show you guys the flyer that we had, because a lot of people looked at the flyer and thought one thing of the flyer. They thought we were they thought that I aligned that these women up based on solely who these women are. And I use these women strategically because these women represent 3 sectors of the women population. So the sexy reds are really like the low grade, low energy, ratchet women that we have in our society. Tia Mowry is more of the confused woman, like the woman that has the image where she wants to push the image out there that she's godly, she's walking in faith and doing this and doing that. And then on the back end of it, she really wants to be out here twerking, shaking her ass, getting down with the raunchy women, the sexy red. She wants that. She wants that type of energy, but she's trying to keep it quote unquote Christian for the public. So you have a lot of the confused women out there, like they pretty much walk in a limbo state. And then you have the Erica Lachey's out there that are the women that know what they want in life. They really bigged out with their community. They're real passionate about their people, real passionate about their spouse, their husband, you know, how to cater to a man, treat a man, how to align their divine femininity with his masculinity and not shoot him down or taint his masculinity to push the femininity. She's not that woman. So you have a lot of women out there, that's the Erica Lachey's, the ones that get called pick-me's for voicing their opinions on how women should conduct themselves. So that's the reason why I had the tier level of these women. So you can see it's not isolated on the individuals themselves. It's more of the representation of what these women exude publicly is a lot of times aligned with the three different phases of women that we have out there. Now, I know people are going to say, well, there's more detailed women out there. I get that, but the general gist of the umbrella is the three that you see right here. So that's why I wanted to add that in with the topic, who to take seriously, which is a topic that Major brought up that he really wanted to stress about. We need to talk about this because it's really an important factor. So with that being said, I'm definitely gonna flip it over to Major real quick so he can expand more on who to take seriously and what that topic is about and how that came about.
Real talk. What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody out there? Bang, bang, Niner gang. We in the building. You dig? We going to the Super Bowl first off. You dig? Niner gang? Okay. Okay. Now we got that out the way. You know what I'm saying? We can talk a little bit. You know, and actually that goes right along with the topic of who you should and who you shouldn't take seriously. Because even in the playoffs, there were certain teams that I said from jump, these motherfuckers, they ain't serious. They're not going anywhere. You understand what I'm saying? Like certain teams, you know they're gonna be out in the first round. And you know what I'm saying? When you tell people this, oh man, you just hate, no, you just be no, man. I'm watching how they play. You understand what I'm saying? And it applies to other instances, but we're talking about this in a relationship capacity, right? So in a relationship capacity, a dating capacity, and in just a general speaking about carriage and the way that people carry themselves. You understand what I'm saying? You have certain people that I had to learn this over the past couple of years that are just not worth your damn time. We know some of them personally. You know, we know some of them personally. I posted about this earlier this week. Somebody like, I know just what you talk about that. No, I can't say that because it applies to so many people. A lot of people, you know, they're just there for the attention, for the clout. You know what I'm saying? To try to sell you some shit. You know, to try to big themselves up and make a name for themselves. You know, a lot of these people are con artists. Like shout out Derek Jackson. You understand what I'm saying? Shout out Stormy Wellington. Yeah. These people don't mean you any well in a dating and relationship capacity, or you know, even to boil it down further on how to improve myself so that I can attract better people, better energy, and have a better overall life result capacity. Correct. They don't mean any well. They're just talking, flying by the seat of their pants, and they're just opportunists, really, at the end of the day. You know, and a lot of these people you really just can't take seriously. And so, you know, you and I had this conversation, and you know, some people, you know, that you just decided, you know, I'm not even gonna comment. I'm not even gonna say that no more because they just don't know what the fuck they're talking about or what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, you know, God bless you. Hope everything's cool, whatever. But, you know, and some people, you know, they unfortunately, there's a whole cottage industry of people who go out there, have no clue what they're talking about, are giving horrible advice, and they're making big money off of it. Like I said, your Derek Jacksons, your Stormy Wellingtons, and some other people, that are in that vein. So it's great, that you speak on, the different tiers of people, you really just can't take seriously, and or that you can. Now, you want to get into the type of qualities that, tell you, that inform whether or not you take some of these people seriously. Erica Lachey is probably one of the baddest and sharpest young sisters out here. And what I notice is very interesting. Women, for all the stuff that women talk about, oh, women don't get proper representation and men don't respect the women's whatever for their intellectual prowess and all this shit. Most of Erica Lachey's followers and people who repost her are men. You understand? Are men. You dig? And so my thing is, if y'all want this representation so bad and y'all want men to respect your mind so bad, because there are intelligent sisters out there. They're very sharp sisters with good ideas, sisters with good hearts, so forth and so on. But they don't support other sisters that are like them. They don't. You know what I'm saying? They really don't. You look at, the other two, Tia Mowry, who you can't take seriously, Sexy Red, who you can't take seriously. And their audiences are overwhelmingly female. You understand what I'm saying? So, sisters, we love you, but you're going to have to start showing some consistency, because Black female representation is at its worst that it's been in about a good 50 years. You know what I'm saying? And the people who are fueling it by giving their energy and their dollars and their attention and their concert attendance, what have you, to these imbeciles are Black women. It's very troubling, and then even the men, who are exploitive. And, I hate to keep harping on Derek Jackson, but he's such a good example. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a straight up con man, and he's been proven to be a total fraud, and he still has millions of followers. Just dumb as a box of rocks. You know what I'm saying? So y'all gotta tighten up, sisters. You know what I'm saying? And really show some consistency and show these sisters who are representing you well the type of love that they need in order for them, to flourish out here. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't get it. They really, really don't. I want to see more of that. And, same with brothers, because we push back like hell against the Derek Jacksons of the world. We push back hard as hell. You know what I'm saying? Because they're a total fraud. So once again, we're seeing this, this duality where the men, and I'm not saying that men are perfect by any means or that we don't have things we need to work on, but the men are holding these bullshit dudes accountable. And the women are making excuses for these bullshit women and coddling them. Shout out to TMI, Sexy Red, as per the flyer. I'm just saying, you hit that one out the park. Yeah. So I'll land my plane there. I know Bob coming with the thunder, but I mean, bro, it's real. Now the game. Okay, go ahead, Bob.
Hey, he is killing me every time he shouts that squad out. But I mean, you did a masterful job of putting that all together in one package and toss a nice little gift bow on it.
Right.
Only couple things. All I want to do is I don't want to take everyone was said. I just want to toss some seasoning on it, just a couple little spices on it. I would say that where you have it, your Sexy Reds and your Erica Lachey's, again, not saying that these are the captains of the flagships. We're just saying that these are representatives. These are, if you blindfold yourself and throw a dart in the huddle, it just randomly lands on these individuals. Yeah. You would have your Erica Lachey on one side of the spectrum and your Sexy Red on the other. These are two individuals that have diametrically opposed views and perceptions and how they carry and conduct themselves and what they represent and stand for. I don't think if you were stone cold drunk, high out your mind of Pluto, and in a near-death comatose state, that you could possibly get either of the two mixed or confused in terms of who stands for what and where they are, or if they're in alignment with each other. That's straight up oil and water. On your worst day, you ain't get that confused.
Right.
What's interesting, and I think for the purposes of this conversation, is the Tia Mowry class. And I would suggest that you have more of your Tia Mowrys than you have of your Erica Lachey's or of your Sexy Reds, because Tia Mowry, to me, in my estimate, Tia Mowry represents the confused woman, the woman
Agreed.
that's not sure which way she needs to go. Oftentimes it's a result of background and upbringing. Sometimes it's a case of a pivotal moment in life. For example, Tia Mowry would say that it would be the divorce. And then this whole concept of, I'm going to do something that's radically different from what I've been doing. Who am I now? How do I move? How do I behave? Because for the most part, and of course we don't know this woman in depth like that. I mean, we've seen her on television since she was a child, but this is really the first time, as far as I'm aware, that we're actually seeing her more on a personal side of the game. So she could have been this person the whole time. But let's assume that who we're seeing now is a result of her trying to find herself after a divorce. Looking to see who she's trying to be, we see that now, for the longest time, you could have assumed she was on the Erica Lachey side of the game, but now that she's single, husband-free now, trying to get out there in the world of dating, trying to find herself, trying to put herself out there as a new single entity, no longer attached to another person. Now we see that it appears she's trying to dip into the Sexy Red bag and try to put some of that on, try that out for a test spin. And we see primarily how awkward she looks. It's not a natural fit. This isn't who you've been, baby girl. I mean, maybe you could get comfortable into it, but right now the growing pains are very evident. But that's true for a lot of women. When they're trying to be this because society is pushing them in this direction. Right now, these Sexy Reds are the current pole bearers for the girl gang. And now, if you're going to be a bad bitch and a boss chick, and you bout them and all the other catchy phrase campaigns that are out there for women currently, this is who you follow in the footsteps of. These are the ones who make your anthems, your marching orders that they're issuing from. So we have this dichotomy where you have women who are trying to have a foot in each camp, one foot deeper in than the other in some cases, and they want to get the attention, they want to get what they perceive of the perks and the benefits of the Sexy Red mentality and mindset. However, their values that may have a foothold in the Erica Lachey side of the game, or that don't want the consequences that come with the Sexy Red mindset in this camp, are on the Erica Lachey side of the game. And now they're forced to choose, well, which one is it going to be? Because like the Bible says, you can't serve two masters because you're going to love one and hate the other. So you all in, and we see that the ones that are all in on the Sex Red side of the game, like you said, they look down on the Lachays. Those are pick-me's. Those are women who are seeking male approval or whatever, what have you. And Erica Lachey's on the side of the game, they may have compassion and pity for the Sexy Red types, but they don't really fool with them like that. If any interaction is try to, maybe change and speak to the mindset and try to, get them to see the error of the ways, but there's not a whole lot of commingling outside of that going on. So these women are in a tug of war who are on the Tia Mowry camp trying to figure out, well, which one is it going to be? And unfortunately, because they haven't committed to either side, oftentimes they find themselves getting that nutcracker action because they're straddling the fence, and that fence is very aggressive and has no qualms about hitting you with that 7-10 split. So that's the state of affairs as this goes. So who to take seriously? Depends on what outcomes you want in life. Which side do you want to get it in on? What I will say definitively is this. Even if you're not an Erica Lachey, you are much better off being a Sexy Red than a Tia Mowry, and I will say why. Because if you are all in on one side, it is a lot easier to realize, you know what, this ain't it, Chief, and recognize, you know what, I need to do something different. This ain't the right way to go about it, and get to the other side of the game where you should be. The Tia Mowrys, because they oftentimes think they're slick, that they're deceiving someone, they want to go out and, comport themselves as an Erica Lachey, but deep down inside, they really got those sexy red tendencies. They think they slick.
Mm-hmm.
They think they get the best of both worlds. They thinking I can get all the benefits from over here while still retaining my image, still retaining my advantages over here. And ultimately, when it's time to pay the piper, they end up losing out on both. So they don't get all the acclaim that comes with being a sexy red. They don't get all the perks and benefits that come with the Erica Lachey's. And oftentimes those women become very, very bitter. Whereas if they would have just picked a side, they could have either received everything that that side had to offer, and possibly if they were on the wrong side of the game, they could have, had the little Mayor's Road experience, so to speak, and get back in the fold.
Mm.
Yeah. Real talk. No
Definitely.
lies detected, sir. No lies detected. We'll see.
I think that a lot of times with the
Bang, bang, Niner gang!
so I think with a lot of times, the confused women is real dangerous out here because if you have a man that is aligned with this woman and figures that this might be a woman that he wants to continue life with because she portrays one way, and then he might get married to her, and then it's another side, and then now, a lot of women that do that, and then they'll force your hand to say, well, as a man, you're supposed to support me. And he's like, I didn't sign up for what you want me to support. You portrayed one side and then flipped it on the other side. And I think a lot of women do that. And that also is one of the things that I talked about with women when they talk about this whole men and women as far as the providing and being submissive and things like that. And a lot of times men have issues with these women because these women will sit back and play a modern role, right? And if you have a man that wants a modern woman and links with the modern woman, now they get together, and then once they get together in that modern role, he's a modern man that doesn't mind a modern woman, and they cool with that. And then a lot of times these women will be like, well, I want to be traditional now. But the thing about it is you went into the game knowing that he wanted a modern woman because maybe, he probably doesn't want to be the traditional man. Now you want to be this traditional woman because you see a lot of your girls, homegirls, they are being traditional and they are the ones, getting a different type of lifestyle that you feel that you want to enjoy and experience yourself. And that also creates a rift into relationships as well. I know a lot of times we talk about money, but a lot of times a lot of the rifts come from the unaligned ideology that you guys don't line up equally on the same level. And I think when you guys are unequally lined up, that causes a big rift. You don't have to be lined up perfectly, but you have to be on the same wavelength if that's what you're doing to progress into building a family, into getting on to the next level. You have to be on the same page. And in order to be on the same page, you have to be lined up. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And I tell guys all the time, you need to ask what type of woman does this woman want to be? Is she a modern woman or is she a what do you call it? A traditional woman. Yeah. And you have to ask these questions because let me tell you something. I saw this post the other day, and I had to write the author because what she said, it sounds good, and that's why I said a lot of you women, you guys eat these things up that women say because you want it to fit a narrative that you are basically narrating in yourself, or it could be a group narration with your friends and you taking on that same narrative, right? But you got to be careful of what you co-signing and what you lining up with. So this post right here, It's this white woman wrote this, right? And I don't know if you guys ever follow this lady named Chrissy of Crime or some Chrissy the Crime. I can't
Yeah, she's
remember her.
full of shit. I know who you're talking about. She's full of shit.
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, I saw this. And the other one, Tanya Clark, she also is another one like Chrissy. I can't remember whose post it was. Either Chrissy or Tanya, right?
One of the
But
bird
they
brains.
wrote this. I think this one was Tanya's. I think this was on Tanya's post because she's a married woman, but she really spews a lot of things to keep women single, right? And this was on her post. She reposted this, and it says, "Good relationships don't exist unless a man is paying all of your bills. If he isn't doing that, then he is just using you and wasting your time when you could be with a man who will gladly financially provide for you. Yes, these men do exist. We just have to stop being desperate for the smallest crumbs of the kindness of a man that we miss the bag by lowering our standards to help." And I had went on her page and I had, basically, I basically said, okay, based on your logic, what about the women that are lined up with men that don't take care of all the bills? Because the women that are with these men have been with men that took care of all the bills, that have been a lot of those men that take care of the bills. I don't know why women have this facade like these men are just golden. A lot of those dudes are narcissists. They're very abusive. They're very controlling. And they have a lot of them have very bad traits that are very harmful.
True.
We talk about physical abuse and mental abuse that comes from these men. So maybe those women have seen those characteristics and traits from those guys and was like, look, I don't want that, because maybe this guy takes care of all the bills and I can't have money to myself because he's not giving me an allowance or whatever the case may be. So I'm like, okay, I take care of the bills. I ain't got to worry about nothing. He buys the groceries, do all of that. But yeah, he talks to me down. He downplays when he talks to me. He doesn't uplift me. He doesn't do none of that. That stuff is like living in hell. So some women get out of that situation. And a lot of times when people get the trauma, based on the trauma that they receive, a lot of times they go the polar opposite, right? They'll go from one extreme to the next because they don't want to be nowhere near what they left, and that happens a lot to Black men and Black women who have bad experiences with Black opposite sex agendas, and they go to the polar opposite and date outside of their race, and they will never date back in their race again, and they would talk shit in the whole process of being with other races of people. So we can see the polar opposite happen in all aspects when people have different traumas that they go through that are very extreme. So I said, if she dealt with a guy like that, and now she's dealing with a guy who they basically break down bills, and it's not 50-50. Sometimes it could be he pays 80% of the bills, she pays 20. I don't know why people act like relationships aren't a man takes care of the mortgage, the car notes, and all that, and the woman takes care of the light bill and the groceries. Like, we don't have perfect relationships that operate like that. Everything isn't taken care of by the man. There are some things that women do. And I told her, I said, hey, a lot of times these women also want to, when they are in a situation where they have no control, they feel like they weren't desired in that relationship, they also get in this relationship and they feel value now because now they're contributing to the household. They feel like, me paying the light bill, that is me being a part of a system, me cooking and buying the groceries. Now I feel like my love is transferred into the meal that goes to my family. So a lot of times these women are embraced by the way that they do things, and they feel wanted. They feel like they are they are appreciated, you know what I'm saying, than they were before. So I said a lot of times you can't go by what you feel, that if you are a person that is somebody's not paying all your bills, that doesn't mean you're not in a good relationship. That's bullshit. Because you could be somebody paying your bills and be in a effed up relationship, living in the nightmares, and you could be with somebody else and doing whatever percentage of shares of the bills and live a wonderful life. You know what I'm saying? So I wrote that and I ain't getting no reply back. And I know she's not going to reply back because logics. This is why I tell you, whenever you're dealing with somebody, all you got to do is just deal with it from a logical standpoint. If you spew logics based on these people that have so much vitriol, even with racists, I deal logics with racists, and that makes them so mad. And I could give you a situation that I deal with a racist and combat them in a logical way that just drives them nuts, where they block me on social media. And racists will sit back and say, Black people have the highest crime rate in population. I mean, they have the highest crime rate, right? And they'll say, oh, it's based on population, because that's really what the crime rate is. It's the crime rate versus the 13%. And then their crime rate versus the 67%, right? That's in their population. So if you have a bigger number, even though they kill more people than Black people, because they have a bigger number, the percentage is now lower. So I say to them, I said, okay, so if by your logics, if you feel that our crime is a lot worse because the percentage of it based on our population, right? You feel that way. They say, yeah. I said, okay, then tell me about police brutality, right? So you have police officers that kill Black people at a high rate. Now, based on the population, right? Because police officers kill white folks too. But based on the population, the Black people being killed by police officers is way higher. So if you can point out fingers based on percentage that our crime is higher, and you have a problem with that, and you want us to fix that, then when we're being killed by police officers at a higher rate, then why aren't you out here campaigning for that to be fixed? You see what I'm saying? They block me. Because that's logic. That shows your biasness.
Right.
You feel me?
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. There are some people now. I don't know if you were you done? Okay. I'm glad you said that, because similarly to you, there are some people now where straight up the reason that I just don't take anything that they say seriously, not just me, a lot of people, that they know and their supposed little following don't take them seriously anymore, is because of their biases. You know, you can't be a broker, an honest broker of male-female involvements when, all of your bias is towards one gender. You know, you're always coddling women. You're always caping for women, making up excuses for women. Nobody can take you seriously. People know you full of shit. You understand what I'm saying? And then when they examine your personal life, they really know you full of shit. You understand what I'm saying? For some of these people, it's quite a few of them. If we keep it at a buck, you know what I'm saying? You got people out here literally writing relationship books, about how to have successful, fruitful relationships that got bodies all over the place, to the point where they got to date niggas from other states because they face is so dirty down here. Who you gonna help? Then when I start getting at you and you think I'm about to put you out there, you run off the post and block a nigga. You dig? Because I'm good for it. You know what I'm saying? And people keep playing. You dig? And it's gonna get ugly with some other people that think they, bruh, what is wrong with you? Go ahead.
And that goes to show you that when it comes to body count, that's why body count, as much as they want to push this body count being equal, like a high body count of a woman is equal to a high body count of a man, It's
Okay.
not. Because
Never.
guess what? A high body count for a man, he can go out there and get basically any woman, because if his sex game, a lot of times guys with high body count, they are sexually more experienced, and
Right.
being more experienced will have more creativity because you're dealing with different women who will tell you how to tweak their body a certain way. So if I
Yeah.
deal with 9 women and they all tweak their body a certain way, now I can use them, not the techniques from all those 9 women. And I'm on that 10th woman, she's like, yo, this dude's sex game is phenomenal. But then
Yeah.
you got a woman who's out here who is racking up counts. Now you're hitting 9 different dudes. And guess what? Part of the 9 different dudes, you might have hit a cousin or one of the ex-dude's friends. Now it's going back around like, yo, this girl is
That's
running
tough.
through niggas. And that's why you have a lot of these women, and I know some of them personal. They
I
can't
do too.
deal with people. They can't deal with individuals down here in South Florida. They have to
Yeah.
deal with people outside of the state or up the road.
Yeah. Or they
You know
gotta
what I'm
get a dusty ass dude that ain't got shit. You did?
Yeah.
Because
A
they
lot of
faces
these,
dirty.
yeah, a lot of
Because
these
word
women either
travels.
come, a lot of these women travel down. They be like, yo, I'm new to the city down here in Miami. But yeah, you just came from Chicago where dudes was over there banging you left and right on film. But you come down to this area, nobody knows you, so you get a fresh start. You know what I'm saying? You come in like the immigrants that's coming in from another country. You could be a criminal in another country. You come here to the US, you're getting a fresh start.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of these
Man,
women
not a
have to
criminal.
do. They have to go into different cities and start over. Why do you think a lot of these women have been
You're
running
right.
to Atlanta and running to Houston?
Don't
Because
get me
their rep down here is just gone.
Real talk. And let me tell you something, bro. Like, let me just get back, because I really want to dial down on what you just said. You just said a lot, right? I want to talk about, just go back just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
To the part where you were talking about, you know, Tia Mowry and all that type of stuff. I want to point out that Tia Mowry is not an anomaly. There's this whole weird energy of women who have been good girls all their lives and respectful and respected and looked up to because of their good girl image. It started with Halle Berry, if we go keep it a buck, right? Yeah. And then at some point in their career, you know, they just decided, oh, fuck it. You know, I'm going to just hoe it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, Halle Berry had no smudges on her record whatsoever. One day I look up in Swordfish and she got her titties out. You're Halle Berry. You don't need to do this shit. You understand what I'm saying? Halle Berry, and then, you know, of course, she got her Oscar after she let the white man pop her to quote the great Negro poet Jada Kiss. That's when she got her Oscar, right?
Yeah.
She sold her soul and she got her Oscar. That's just how it works, right? But it's a whole host of women who have done the Tia Mowry shuffle. You got Megan Good, you got Jenny May, you got Nicole Irie Parker, you got Gabrielle Union, you got Jada Pinkett Smith. Remember when she first got married, she was Miss Goody Two Shoes, butter wouldn't melt in her mouth.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, she was the pass around chick for all them years before, but you know what I'm saying? When she got married, butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. She was and then after a while, you know, the real her came out. So, brothers, you know, this gets back to vetting. I always talk about this because if you really vet that woman in your heart of hearts and you vet her properly, you know what you got. Correct. You dig? One of the first things that I did when I met my wife, one of the most important things that I did is I watched her ass for about a half hour, 40 minutes before I said anything to her. And I always do that. When I see a woman who look like she might be something, if I can, you know, sometimes time doesn't permit, but if I can, I'll watch her for a while before I go and speak to her. And that gives me a lot of intel because, okay, is she sitting there minding her business, having a good time? Or is she up twerking, trying to get attention, you know, trying to troll niggas for drinks? What is she doing when nobody's watching? Or when she thinks nobody's watching? That tells you a lot about somebody's character. You know what I'm saying? You know, to her credit, she was trying not to be seen, just minding her business, having, a good time with her homegirl. I'm like, that's the one. You know what I'm saying? That matters, fellas. That matters. And this whole paying the bills 50-50 conversation and all this dumb shit. People, we talked about this before. People are too damn busy keeping score.
Yeah.
I think Bobby mentioned this earlier this week in the chat. People are too busy keeping score to make intelligent assessments regarding dating and relationships. I'm going to say that again. People are too busy keeping score to make an intelligent assessment about dating and relationships. Oh, you not paying more than 50% of the bill, so you ain't no real man. First of all, no woman unilaterally determines to any man what is a real man.
True.
Yeah.
That's number 1, 2, and 3. You don't get to say that. You understand? It is not up to any woman to solely determine what dictates manhood to men. So y'all need to shut up with that bullshit. You understand what I'm saying? It rings hollow. Only beta male fuck niggas listen to that. You understand what I'm saying? You need to really, know what you're talking about before you speak. Only 4%, not 14, not 40, 4% of the population, as per the Bureau of Labor Statistics, is able to have a household where only one spouse works. So you're telling me that 96% of the country, the women who out here who have men, they ain't real men and those men ain't shit? People just be talking stupid. They just say anything to be provocative and get some clicks. They say some of the dumbest shit imaginable and people support them. You understand what I'm saying? That doesn't even make sense. You understand? And, just lastly, I want to say, do not, under any circumstances, people, particularly women, everybody, but particularly women, do not co-sign, do not take people seriously. To keep in the spirit of today's show with taking people seriously. Never take people seriously that co-sign hoes or dusty niggas. You see them out here caping for the Cardi B's and City Girls and Sukihanas and Sexy Reds and Meg Thee Stallions and on the guy side of things, the Futures, the Kodak Blacks, and you know what I'm saying? All these clowns, never take those people seriously.
Highway to failure.
And look, some of those people have music that sounds good audibly, but I'm talking about the way in which they behave. You understand what I'm saying? You never take people seriously that take any of those people seriously or cape for them in any capacity. You just don't do it. You can't. It's dumb. You understand? These people are some of the worst examples ever set for Black society.
Correct.
And you got people out here that go to the wire for them. When something happens to one of them, they act like somebody in their family is being impacted or affected. You understand what I'm saying? And then secondly, don't also, to add to that, to piggyback onto that, never take people seriously that repost and retweet other people's nonsense. There's so many people. Real talk. You can't take them seriously. And then what's so sad about it, when you check them on that, they don't even know why what they reposted or retweeted or are co-signing, they don't even know why it's wrong. You understand what I'm saying? It's like some people are just too dense and some people are just not on your level. You know what I'm saying? So when you realize who those people are, you need to just, God bless them and just leave them alone. The first time I heard Derek Jackson speak, I was like, who is this? And people, I couldn't believe that so many people were following this guy. This dude is a total fraud.
Yeah.
and he knows he's a fraud. He knows he's lying. Some of these other guys, they're just that dumb. They really believe this shit. He knows that 75% of the shit he says is lies. And he still does it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, dude, we have a whole, like I said, a whole cottage industry of people out here who are making a grip off of misleading people. And that's sad and deceptive. The Bible has a verse on that shit. Cursed is he who leads the blind into darkness. You understand what I'm saying? We are in a state of crisis in Black communities when we are talking about the Black family and what it is comprised of and where it is right now in terms of, you know, how we interact with each other, you know. And I'm sorry, it's just it's too bad right now for me to be wasting time with dumb motherfuckers that don't know what they're talking about. Like, it's frustrating, bro. Like, real talk. And yeah, I'm trying to be diplomatic with some people, but bro, like I only have so much patience. You dig? Like, some of these people are really obnoxious and they don't even know it. That's the sad part. They don't even know. I'll land my plane. Man, it's crazy out here.
Very much so. I did see a post that both of you guys co-signed, and I want to address Bobby's post first that he co-signed, and he can give us more in detail of why he co-signed this post. And this post is right here. It was shared by a woman that he knows of, and she put this up, and he said, "You know what? Check this out." So I checked it out. I said, "All right, cool. You know what? We're gonna throw it up on the show and have a dialogue about this." And she says, "Don't beat me up, but I believe men are more committed to staying in the relationship, and women are more committed to the relationship being enjoyable. To some degree, we believe and have been conditioned to believe relationships are supposed to be a fairy tale when it's not. We are disenchanted, unfortunately, and leave. Uncomfortable and leave, right? Note that uncomfortable is not the same as abused, harm, etc. Abuse is hard. Stop. I'm referring to uncomfortable conversation, tackling different beliefs, parenting differences, cultural differences, different communication styles, etc. And we have to be honest in the context a lot of times. If a man simply does not agree with us, we assume he is wrong without taking the proper time to reflect ourselves on the acknowledge we could be the ones in the wrong. I could see why that feels risky for men. I believe most men honestly crave someone to love, protect, and provide for, but betting it all on someone who could flip the switch with I think it's a drop of a dime, I believe. Hold on, let me see if I got the ticker running. Let me hide the ticker real quick. Oh, okay. Could flip the switch with a fleeting feeling is scary. And then the next part to that is part two is on the flip side, a lot of men expect relationships are supposed to be hard, sometimes even miserable. They genuinely believe that that's just part of it, but they will let that part get really big instead of voicing their concerns or issues with their partner. They suffer in silence. They don't take the steps to enjoy the relationship or make it enjoyable. And to some degree, even resenting their partner for feeling like it should be enjoyable, because subconsciously they don't believe it has to be. It just has to last because they put all their eggs in one basket. Ain't no backup plan, ain't no leaving, kind of like how men believe complaining about physical pain makes them weak. Their head could be hanging on by a thread and they would just tough it out. But the pain persists, doesn't get fixed, or he'll just suffer. But women today ain't going for that. We can get jobs and have bank accounts now. We are not finna be miserable with y'all. We would literally rather travel the world, eat good food, and die single with our 6 cats and 2 puppies. Some people got to give. Ladies need to acknowledge that healthy relationships that lead to genuine personal growth and development are hard and scary and complicated. Men need to realize that doesn't mean a toxic, abusive death row contract. The pain should feel like the swollen muscles after a workout, not a punch in the face. One of these you grow from, the other you have to heal from. So that's what she had wrote and posted out. And Bobby, you can break that down for us and let us know what grasped your attention to that post and what made you share that to us.
Well, what initially drew my eye to it because I started reading through it, and again, I do know the person who was the original author of it. I saw the post shared by a friend of ours.
Oh, okay.
And when I started reading it, I was like, because more than likely if it was on her page, I probably wouldn't have seen it because I usually don't see her post that often.
Yeah,
Every
correct.
once in a blue moon will pop up. But the other person I see their post frequently. And when I started reading it, I'm like, okay, I automatically expected it to be good because I have respect for this person. I know usually they post good, solid things. And I'm reading through it, I'm like, okay. And then when I saw who posted originally, I was like, she got hacked? Like, oh. I was like, damn. 2024, a lot of shit going interesting this year so far. Okay, cool. I gave props to where it came from, but that whole post, I think, did a masterful job, and it was long, it was lengthy, but it needed to be because I really believe that it perfectly encapsulated the state of relationships from the male and the female perspective as it exists. We've seen too many different examples. We could be here all night pointing out all the different examples over the years. We're just talking about Tia Mowry, Miss AKA I graduated from the relationship. We just had that the other day. Where nothing's wrong, nothing apparently on the surface, no rumors or whispers about abuse, nothing that could indicate that there's a legitimate reason for this relationship being over. But yet she's basically announcing that, well, I decided that things have run its course. New year, new me, who this, and all kind of nonsense. I'm going to go out there and see what's out there. This is a marriage that's been together for quite some time with children in tow. And because, according to her, she wasn't happy, whatever the hell that means, that meant to her, push the self-destruct button.
Yeah.
Whereas quite frequently we see the opposite case where you'll have men in relationships and men typically don't go and pull that trigger, even when it's warranted. You know, the fact of the matter is we have the divorce rate that's well over 50%. It's been that way for quite some time. And we know that roughly 80% of all divorces are filed by women.
Yeah.
And not all of those divorces are just. Not all of these divorces are a result of financial mismanagement or adultery and infidelity or craziness. We have a lot of women more or less divorcing for similar reasons to what Tia has declared. Or for other trivial things that really, quite frankly, are not significant enough to warrant that. Issues that possibly could be resolved with some counseling, some couples therapy, or just by doing due diligence. A lot of times, let's be honest, how many times have we seen relationships that are marriages and people break up because they found out something that, honest to God, if you spent more than 6 months together and the bulk of the time wasn't all sexual related, you would have found it on your own. Cool. I didn't know he had 3 kids. You didn't know that? How long have we been talking? We've been talking for 4 weeks. And you thought that was long enough to find out. It don't matter. The sex was good. So you just gave him not about it. Oh, okay. So that's the rabbit hole we want to go down to. But too often we see these relationships fall apart really due to lack of proper vetting.
Yeah.
In some cases, not even vetting, if we're being honest, there wasn't even enough time to even begin vetting. You couldn't even take out the vetting kit and dust it off and put your latex gloves on and get the first piece out. There's really not enough time to justify doing so. And while there are some relationships that have been able to make the ultimate jump off the bat, I've heard people say, they met their significant other and in 1 month they were married, in 6 months they were married. They knew that was the one. Tip my hat off to them. But in most cases, that's a recipe for failure.
Yeah.
But we see men typically are more likely to go ahead and just weather the storm and just suck it up, even if they're not happy, for the sake of their family. They don't want to deprive their children of having that nuclear household. They don't want to have to put up with visitation and court battles and custody splits and child support and all that. They figured, you know what? I'm in purgatory right now, but I'd rather be in purgatory than hell. And they make that devil's bargain. Meanwhile, you have women that'll detonate everything, and consequence be damned, they'll take whatever comes their way.
Mm-hmm.
This has been an aspect that I think for the longest time has been ignored and really downplayed by women, where they're trying to make it out like it's not that bad just because men aren't filing more often. But I do see that now, even though that scale isn't tipping, what we're seeing is instead of men pushing more for divorce, we're seeing men more reluctant to get married, period.
Correct.
Or in some cases, not getting married here. Thus, you have the rise of initiatives like the Passport Bros and all these other movements or what have you, the Save Yourselves Black Men or the Red Pill, other movements, where men are basically encouraging men to not get tied down. In some cases, I'm seeing them even going so far as to say, don't even have children, because the children can be used against you. They can be weaponized against you. They can be used to make your life hell by these women out here. So you have men that are being burned, and it's affecting the culture on this side where they're saying just either suck it up and deal with it or don't get into it at all. Whereas women have the mindset of, I'll get into it, and then it doesn't matter how deep I go in, I can always just, hit the self-destruct button and just merely walk away from it.
Yeah.
So I was very happy to see that this was expressed, and I did look at the original post, and I saw some women trying to give some pushback, but she did a good job of redirecting them and really making them sit and think about it, like and really just lay it out for them, like, no, that's what. And I'm surprised because, again, these have been classic girl gang talking points for years.
Yeah.
Not through these social media streets. I've seen these conversations play out. I've seen the way women bandy and pretend that this isn't a thing. And she did a great job of redirecting and logically presenting the fallacies behind the arguments and really making the case that this is the way it is. So I feel it's an amazing post. It really does a good job of laying the situation out. And if men and women are serious about making a course correction, changing the state of relationships, changing the way women experience relationships, the way men experience relationships, and really creating a healthy stage at which to develop and evolve, I think that a post like that can go a long way, because I thought it was very fair. It wasn't giving coverage to the men. It wasn't giving coverage to the women. It was simply matter-of-factly explaining this is the state of affairs. There were no sides being taken from what I saw. It was, this is it in black and white. This is it in black and white. So now you have the placemat. Now, however we want to proceed from here, we can do that because we have the intel that we need to be able to make rational decisions and determine, well, what do we do about this? Does this fit our needs and our interests? And if not, what can we do? How can we adjust the male experience in marriage? How can we adjust the female experience in marriage? How can we make sure that these two entities are on the same page so we have a proper, united, harmonious institution and not basically a death trap, something out of a Saw movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
You wanted to add on that, Major? Did you see the same thing that Bobby saw?
Put it back up real quick. I kind of sort of agree with Bob on this. I didn't like it because I necessarily liked it. I liked it because when you like something, you see all the other comments and stuff that other people put on it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I really liked it. I didn't really have a problem with it. It just seemed to me that in the center, put it back up. I was ready to read it.
Which one? It's two parts to it.
The first half, the second half.
The first part. The first. Yeah, it was a bit lengthy, but it's all good. Actually, no, it was the second half. I'm sorry.
Second one? Okay.
Yeah, second half.
Okay.
Well, she just seemed it annoyed me a bit on this part, but women today ain't going for that. We can get jobs and have bank accounts now. Who finna be miserable with y'all? You know, we would really literally rather travel the world, eat good, and be single with our 6 cats and 2 puppies. That's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like that part right there, you know, this is the prime example to me of the women who will have you think that they're even keeled, but really they harbor some low-key anti-male sentiment themselves. You know, that was totally unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? And it really, to me, showed me who she really was and what she really believes. So no, I differ slightly from Bobby in that I don't believe that she's being even keeled and fair, and you know, no, she's being biased. And that line there shows me that she's being biased. And that's to have that mentality, you know, if I said this to someone earlier this week, you know, a lot is to be said about the way that you approach a situation. You understand what I'm saying? If you are coming in with that mentality, this is your posture from hello, then it's going to inform a lot of the other shit that you say and do. This is how you feel coming in before you even know this person, before you even in the situation. I suggest her and other women who feel like her, before you get involved with anyone, you know, and start wasting people's time, you get healing. You know what I'm saying? Because those are some very concerning sentences right there. You know, you'd really literally rather go through that, you know what I'm saying, than just someone and try to cooperate with them and try to get along with them, to come in the spirit. I've said this for a very long time, and I stand by this. You know, if a woman doesn't come to you in the spirit of cooperation and compromise, in the spirit of submission, you don't need her. I admit that shit when I said it. You understand what I'm saying? And we have to be very careful of women like this. Pink Book Lessons calls them chameleons, because they'll appear like, you know, everything's all hunky-dory and they're deep and, you know, this and that, but they're really not that deep. They really have some low-key misandrist views, and they really low-key, like some other people that we know, low-key don't really care for men that much. You dig? They're really on the same girl power bullshit that everybody else is on, but they're just more quiet about it. You understand what I'm saying? You got to be careful. You got to be more careful about people like that, because that person down the road, you'll get the Tia Mowry. She'll flip on your ass. You understand what I'm saying? That part right there just turned me off. And this is the thing. People don't understand. It takes forever and a day to build trust. It takes one instance or 1 second to betray it. You understand what I'm saying? And when you got that type of thinking going in, I can tell already that you fucked up and you're going to betray my trust. You got to watch people like that. That's my take on it. I didn't like that at all. You know, she made some valid points in there. She made some very valid points.
Like I said, this was growth.
Yeah.
Like I said, this was growth.
I know some people like that.
Because we go back. That's why I said I was surprised. And I saw, and even though, of course, I don't agree with that statement at all. Of course, you know, when I got it the first time, I rolled my eyes like, here we go. I knew it couldn't be. I knew we couldn't bat 100. I knew there was got to be some bullshit in there. Yeah. But however, at the same time, I still think it does have its place and it serves its purpose, where it serves as a snapshot into the mindset.
I agree.
That goes behind the kind of woman that, because if we're looking at it from the perspective of how men approach marriage these days versus how women approach marriage these days, that right there, even though it is disgusting, that is accurate. That is how the Tia Mowry thinks.
That's how they think.
Yeah. Isn't that what she did? I graduated. Yeah. I'm out here doing my best. I don't need all this, whatever. I don't need that to define me. That's the mindset we see on display. So it's ugly, but if we're looking at it for what it is and not as this is how it should be, we're just saying that this is the current state, not putting any metric, not saying it's good or bad, just saying this is what it is.
Yeah.
It works. But trust and believe that is the set, even though that might not have 100% been the purpose, the bias was there, but in this case, the buy still served its purpose. And again, this was growth. I was surprised to see
That's
this.
that's insane. Let me tell you, there's some people like that on my thread. I don't know if you know London Black. You know London
Yeah.
Black. You're on my thread, right? Like I used to, you I know you know.
Don't call us Soul Bay. Don't miss Soul Bay like that.
Well, hey man, I'm just keeping
that's hashtag Soul Bay. Shout out,
she's grown a lot. She's grown a lot.
I'm proud of her.
You did. Straight up, I was saying, you know what? Lowell even commented and gave her a compliment on something that she said this week. That's how Lowell is. If Lowell gave her a compliment on something she said, that's huge. Because she came from all the way on the other end. She was on the bullshit. And the more she started listening to us, even Anthony, and Anthony has a block, you know what I'm saying? But even Anthony, you know what I'm saying? Because she asked me to ask Ant to unblock her. Ant said no. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Anthony's gangster like that. Look,
yeah, I'm not.
She even learned from Anthony. And she learns from me and she learns from you. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to say it. But I commented after Lowell. I'm like, yeah, she listens to us. She learns from us.
That's damn near an ego. That's damn near the Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony right there.
Real talk. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. And because she used to just say so much bird shit. And I'm like, yo, respectfully, she's a good sister. She's like I told her earlier this week, you are wrong about a lot of things, but you're not dumb. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like the stuff she would repeat that we would call bird shit, she would just be repeating stuff, I think, that she heard other people say and not really thinking about it. But now that like we be talking, I think she thinks about stuff more because she knows she's gonna be challenged if she posts that shit. You understand what I'm saying? And I say respect to her for that because that's what this shit is all about. These discussions are not for you to pout and go in your corner and make up some shit about how somebody fake offended you. You understand what I'm saying? And whine and bitch and moan. No, it's for you to learn something. Either you're teaching something or you're learning something or you're trying to understand. One of the three. If you just want to hear yourself talk, you can shut the fuck up and get out my face. You know what I'm saying? Like real talk, at the end of the day, we should all be learning from each other. I learn a gang of shit from some of the people that follow me and the people that I follow, whatever. A lot of the sisters, let it be good, bad, or ugly. I learn a lot. You understand what I'm saying? And instead of just taking it and being selfish with it, I put it back out there. I ask other people about it. I get people involved in the conversation because my number one objective is to make you think differently. Because like I said to a sister that we both know, we were on a thread earlier this week, Anthony and myself, and I just broke it down, because I was mentioned. And so I responded and I broke it down. Yo, at the end of the day, we can say all we want to say. We can do all these wonderful things, whatever the case may be. We can have the best intentions. You ain't doing shit if you are not getting people to come to the table in good faith and acknowledge their transgressions, let it be a male or a female, you know what I'm saying? And be willing to make meaningful change and move forward. That should be the goal. Anything else, you're just wasting your time. Straight up. I don't give a damn what it is. Anything else, this show, if we weren't doing that, it would be a total waste of time. You cannot ignore the problem and think that you're going to find the solution. The fuck you talking about? You know what I'm saying? That's not how things work. You just end up compounding the problem, kicking the can down the road. You understand what I'm saying? That's not how shit works. We have to be adults about the way that we approach things, man. And too many of us are just on this fluff shit, where, we just want to pad the problem and paper over it and make it look pretty. That's bullshit.
But see, going back to agree with what you said, but tapping back specifically into the entry part of what you were saying and everything else, that goes to the importance of having a differing voice. Yes. The problem is everyone, and this is why I try to emphasis on the word. Actually, I haven't tried. I'm gonna take that back. I try to try
Yeah.
I don't ever want to get to the point where I try, but I try to have grace with some people. I try and use discernment, because when you see certain things out of people, hear certain things, you have to get to a level, I wouldn't even say of maturity, but you have to get to a level of wisdom and insight where you can discern the purpose. There are some people who I will see say certain things, or I will hear certain things from them, and off top, I got my sword and shield out. I'm chopping heads, no mercy. I'm trying to drop a body right there, because I know the spirit they're coming in is disingenuous and that bullshit, and I'm gonna cut it down. I'm gonna chop the
Yeah.
baby in the crib. I'm not gonna let it even get a chance to get its first bottle of milk. But sometimes I will see certain things, and either it'll be the wording or it'll just be an insight that I get, and I recognize that this isn't a person that's being malicious. This is someone who's genuinely confused and lost. And rather than go at the neck, I'm gonna see if we can clear up the misconceptions. I can see if we can get them right back on track.
I agree.
And you have to learn how to figure out which is which. The ones, again, that's on the nonsense, I'm chopping the heads off. I'm coming straight for your neck, and I don't feel no ways about it. But even though I'm not primarily in the business anymore of trying to rescue people, because I'm at the point now where I believe, I'm a pass the ball, and if you drop it, we're going to keep on going. We don't have time to stop and wait till you get it. That's somebody else's work, and I respect that work, but that's not my work. But if I see that, I'll do it. But a lot of people are waiting to get that real talk in the ear. They're regurgitating what they're saying. Some of them don't really believe it, but some of them also don't have anything different to juxtapose that with.
True.
So that's all they got. But when they hear real stuff, they jump with it. I was like that. I didn't know nearly as much as I did, between now and just 5 years ago. There's been a lot of growth for me. And over the last decade, I can barely even recognize myself from who I am back then to now.
Great. That's great.
I've always been the kind of person where I don't need a whole bunch of cajole. I don't need a whole bunch of, come on, just not. I've never been that person.
Right.
I've always had a curious mind. I've always been intelligent, and I've always had an ability to critically think. So if I hear new information and I recognize, oh, this is what it's on, I jump right on it. I've never had to be coddled. And if I heard something that I wasn't sure about, I'm like, I don't know about this. I won't accept it, but I'll take it. I'll let it sit there for a little bit and I'll watch it. And if I see that it bears fruit, okay, then cool. I'll jump on them. But if not, I just discard it. But I've always been a person that looks for truth and looks for realness. So when I see it and recognize it, no further action needed. I'm on there.
Real talk.
And that's why it's important that we're doing what we're doing. And this isn't to gas us up or blow us up or anything like that. It's for anyone that's doing what we're trying to do. But when I see people out there that are sensible, that are intelligent, and they're putting the knowledge and good game out there, I gravitate towards that. And that's why I appreciate this platform, what we're trying to do. If y'all brothers went on their wave, we might have been cool in passing, but I really wouldn't be giving y'all no eartime.
Yeah.
Because what y'all saying is edifying. It's nothing that I can really get by. It's nothing that can latch on and give me nourishment. I don't eat no junk food. I'm straight. I'm trying to be fit as hell physically and mentally.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons why we clicked, because we were all on the same wave. It was nothing for us to come together and just, Justice League on.
Correct.
Real talk.
Correct.
And look, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Getting with like-minded people. And like our slogan says, it's a place where we build, inform, build, and inspire. You dig? That's what this is. Like, it's for real. And more people need to get on code and start to be about that business. Because if you're not doing that, like I said earlier, you're just wasting your time. And time is our most precious asset. We can't afford to just run around all willy-nilly wasting time on nonsense when we have real work that needs to be done. Black relationships, I'll say it again, the Black family is in a state of crisis. We can't get along. Most of our families are splinter families, man. And splinter families don't work. Not to say that they can't work, but I think we have a large enough sample size, you know what I'm saying, where we can say definitively they don't work.
Yeah.
And so we need to get back in the business of producing solid, healthy nuclear families. That's what it's about. That's the whole purpose of this show, you know. And much love to, you know, some of the other people who are out there that want to see Black love flourish, you know, and so forth and so on. I just question a lot of the methodology, because there's some people who are very well meaning out here. They just don't know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And that can be worse than somebody that just doesn't care, because you're misleading people. You understand what I'm saying? And misleadership, you know, has all type of negative ramifications. You know, you know, especially when we're in, you know, the condition that we're in, you know, you kind of gotta know what you're talking about. Or you're just someone that we shouldn't be taking seriously. That's just what it is.
Correct. I totally agree. I'm glad you pointed that out, because that was the only thing in there that I felt kind of indicated to me that it was a backhanded compliment, right?
Yeah, man.
She started out with getting on the women and saying, "Yo, y'all need to act right." So it started out with accountability, going towards other women. And I noticed a lot of times you'll find a lot of backhanded compliments coming from people when they start off addressing the women, right? So they'll start off addressing the women, and then you'll be like, yeah, they're addressing the women, okay, accountability. And then they say, all right, on the flip side, you niggas gotta do this, and then niggas, we don't need you in this, because what you wanna do is you basically wanna throw women under the bus. But when you're throwing them under the bus, you're also you're also lifting the bus up, you're lifting the shocks up a bit. So when you throw them under the bus, they're not getting crushed. You're just literally throwing them under the bus unharmed. But when it comes to the men, now you're lowering the shocks. Yeah. So when you throw us under the bus, we're getting crushed. But to the audience, it looks like you're throwing both genders under the bus. You get what I'm saying?
That's a tactic. That's called appeasement. Yes. You know, you're appeasing the scoundrels. That's what you're doing at the end of the day.
Exactly. So you know that way you can never get the backlash. You're trying to avoid the backlash, because you'd be like, oh well, I get on the women too, you know, and we have mutual friends that do that a lot. And one thing that I really do for myself, I always tell people I lead by example. I don't tell you to go vote if I'm not voting. I don't tell you to mentor the children in the community if I'm not doing it. I don't tell you to go ahead and have love for your people if I don't have love for my people. And I've always stand on my morals and square from day one. That's why a lot of people follow me, because they like, yo, Ant, one thing about you, you solid as fuck. And another thing about you is they call me Mr. Receipts. And that says a lot when people can nickname you that. I even reposted a video that a friend of mine sent me, that it was a funny video of like, I guess it was some English guards, and you know, they walk in unison, right? And the way they were walking so slow, but they were stomping, and it was like, this is how, you know, you walk in when you have receipts. And the guy tagged me and said, yo, Ant, it's you. So it says a lot when people can identify your character as somebody that is solid and stands on their square. The problem that I tell people, and I address it with people, is I see a lot of people, especially women, that what we call straddle the fence. And when you straddle the fence, you take away credibility because you don't stand on a foundation. You straddle the fence because you don't want to step on one side of the fence, and then on the other side, you don't want to step on that side either. So you straddle the fence to keep neutral, but that hurts you in the long run, because people who will sit back and look at you looking for your type of leadership because you put yourself out there as a leader or you presented yourself as that, and they're looking at you for a decisive role of where you stand on things, and you straddle the fence, people don't respect you. They don't take nothing that you. I've never seen somebody who straddled the fence get taken serious in life. Not one time.
Ever.
Doesn't happen.
And it hurts you. So when I see people that I care about, that I love dearly, and I'm pointing something out to you, I'm doing it out of love, because I understand you keep straddling this fence, nobody's gonna pay attention to you. Nobody's gonna look into what you got going on. Nobody's gonna buy into your brand. Nobody's gonna do none of that, because you two flip flop. You get what I'm saying? And that's the same thing when I think Tyreek talked about that with Tim Scott. He's like, yo, you know, these white supremacists looking at this dude as an ass kisser, but at the same time, they like, yo, you gotta watch these ass kisses, because the way he kissed ass on Trump, nigga, he could kiss ass to an enemy. You see what I'm saying? And that's because you flip flop. They don't. Nobody takes you serious, no matter if you co-sign them or not. They'd be like, yeah, you co-sign me, but shit, man, I got my eye on that motherfucker, because that nigga flip flop too much.
I had this conversation with my mom the other night about the usual suspects, right? You know what I'm saying? About mom. My mom is like, just like you, and my mom is like, yo, these people, they just want to be down. They want to sit at the table with the cool kids. You dig? These are probably people that weren't very popular in high school. You know what I'm saying? Now they got a little following. They're feeling themselves a little bit, and they don't want it to end. You can't please everybody, man. And it just really speaks volumes about how weak your character is when you just go whatever way the wind blows. And like you said, when you care about people and you're trying to tell them for their own good, because you see them self-destructing, you see that train coming. It's like, yo, fam, I fucks with you. I rock with you. Stop doing this bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yo, because you know they know better. You know they're smarter than that. You know, you hope they're smarter than that. Goddamn, you know what I'm saying? But damn, they just keep going. Sometimes my great grandmother had a saying, "Don't wake them, let them sleep."
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one.
It just is what it is, man. And everything will work itself out in the wash. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you see how a person could be so great.
Yeah.
If they just told the fucking truth. You know, like, because like you said, you know, that whole tactic is very ineffective, because what happens is, you know what I'm saying, you make it always seem like it's the men and the women who have the problem, even when it's not. Sometimes there are certain things that are specific to a gender. There are things that men need to work on. And when those things happen, you know me, I'm good for it. I don't, what did I posted today, man, talking about something specifically. Hold on, let me just, I just want to make sure I talk about this real quick. Hold on. A man that belittles your education, doesn't respect your dreams or accomplishments, That was actually another post, but that was another one, because sisters were on there saying, hey, you know, brothers need to, some brothers do, you know, belittle your accomplishments. And I was like, yeah, that's wrong. And, you know, brothers shouldn't be doing that. But there was another one on here where I was talking about how men, you know, because a guy had posted something in one of these groups. There's a lot of toxicity in some of these groups, man. Like, and he said something to the effect of, guys need to start hollering at chicks that do illegal things. And it was one of these women who had slept with a student. And the guy was like, you know, guys need to
rape the student.
Yeah, start hollering, rape the student, exactly. Guys need to start hollering at chicks like this that do these type of illegal things, because they're about it. They're down for whatever. And I'm like, bruh, what kind of creepy ass low life bullshit is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to holler at those women. We need to pursue them, because, you know, sexually they're so free and they'll just do whatever. And I'm like, gentlemen, you know what I'm saying? This is fuckboy shit. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
if you're a guy who's doing this dirt bag shit, you need to chill with that, because that's the wackest you can get. It don't get no whacker than that. It's predatory and despicable. And I didn't say, but women's do it too. And but the women's be the women's be doing it with them. I didn't say none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? It was a guy who posted it, and it was other guys liking and agreeing with it and joking about it. I'm like, hey, brother,
you mean you didn't cape for bad behavior?
I didn't cape for bad behavior.
You mean you didn't rock for the game?
I didn't. Somehow or other, I found the wherewithal within myself to not cape for bad behavior. And that's the thing why, again, getting back to the topic of taking people seriously. If you out here caping for bad behavior just because the person who did it got a pair of titties, no one of sound mind and body, the people who matter, are never going to take you seriously. But if we keeping it a buck, a lot of these people, they're charlatans. And, they're snake oil salesmen. So they really don't care if intelligent people don't take them seriously, or if they never make any actual change. A lot of them, man, they just trying to get a little podcast deal, maybe a little TV deal, or whatever the case may be. Maybe sell a few books, some bullshit. It's a hustle for a lot of them, is my point. So a lot of these people, even though we think that they're real, how real are they really? You know what I'm saying? If you're out here caping for people's bad behavior, if you're not calling out people's bad behavior for what it is, you are a threat to the Black community. Especially, the position that we're in now. You are a threat to your own community. You are a Sambo. You are a sellout. You understand what I'm saying? And that needs to be called out. We got too many people out here doing that bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get into our first topic of the night, and our trendy topics for the week. And what I've noticed is that we're talking about flip-flopping and who to take serious. And one of the things that we had that went on this week that I thought was very significant, especially in the sisterhood community, was the beef that's going on with Nicki and Megan Thee Stallion. They were once friends. They have videos out there that they were, chit-chatting in the same room with each other, laughing, kiki-keying, this my girl, this my bestie. And then next thing you know, they had Megan Good puts out a diss song called Diss.
Stallion.
Yeah.
Megan Good don't rap. Megan Good. You said Megan Good.
Oh, I said Megan Good. My bad. Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah, all these Megans, man. They just they always in the news for something. So Megan Thee Stallion had this record called Hiss that she started sending shots at Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj is working on her song called Bigfoot. That's supposed to be a backlash to that. But what I wanted to say is that, a lot of the times these are reflection of how women, this is the vibe that a lot of women are. I know a lot of women who I've seen rock with each other heavy over the years, and then all of a sudden they don't even rock with each other no more. And matter of fact, not only that, I've seen two friends that actually started putting each other's business out there behind. And these was best friends. And they when I talk, they wasn't slanging the mud. They took up the whole goddamn truck full of manure and threw it at each other. That's how bad that beef was. And I didn't think it was going to get that bad because they were really tight. And I think one of the things is that a lot of times in the sisterhood community, it has to get better. A lot of it is a lot of facade. a lot of that is really not friends. It's just faking the funk. And a lot of that comes out in the latter years. It all comes out, and then it ends up being so nasty and so vicious that people hold their jaws because of the salacious stuff that you have to say to each other. And I think a lot of the drama actually adds fuel to that, because now you see that all these reality shows engage in that type of behavior. So now they make it so natural, like that's a normal thing to do, And I just wish our sisters, man, would just have a better connection with each other, have more loyalty with each other. Because I tell people all the time that women rather be around men more than they rather be around women. And that's always been a thing that I've known since growing up. Women feel more secure. They feel more loved when they're around men. And that's not even on a romantic relationship, just as a friendship. Their friend protects them. Their friend does things for them, does chivalrous stuff for them. And a lot of these women, they hate them. They really at each other's throat, and even in the empowerment spaces where you're supposed to be empowered in these rooms, and they still throw shade at each other. They don't really be in that room to help each other. It's more of, hey, spend your money with me. I want to be this big time person, and just being seen with me or taking a picture with me is good enough for you. And I just think I think women just need to get away from that and just have a better sisterhood policy amongst y'all. And I'll land my plane on that.
Yeah, so no lies detected, brother. Let me tell you something. Like, I knew it was phony between them from jump. Unfortunately, look, I'm a rap fan. I follow rap. You know what I'm saying? Even as toxic as hip hop is, not even hip hop, as toxic as rap is, right?
Yeah.
I follow it because I like the way that it sounds. And you got some people out there that are dope as hell, even though they're toxic as hell. Nicki Minaj is at the top of that list. Nicki Minaj is one of the most toxic people and personalities in the whole game. You dig? It's just who she is. This happens every time Nicki befriends somebody in the industry. Every time. Yeah. This is not new. So I saw this shit coming forever ago. You know what I'm saying? She's petty. Mm-hmm. She comes up with these ridiculous beefs. She keeps weird company. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. So when you're dealing with this type of person, this is what you can expect. I'm glad Meg finally is firing back, if I'm being totally honest, because she been taking shots at Meg Thee Stallion. I'm no fan of Meg Thee Stallion either. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think Nicki's a much better rapper. You know what I'm saying? But they're both equally as toxic. Neither of them is, benefiting the community with the bullshit they be talking about. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, it's a wash for me. I have no dog in this fight. But, just from a pure hip-hop perspective and from a fan of hip-hop, I'm glad to see that Meg is finally striking back. And I want to see Nicki prove herself on a lyrical level, because Remy dish-ragged her ass. Remy wiped up the floor with Nicki Minaj. As dope as Nicki is, I was expecting Nicki to come with that heat.
Yeah.
This record was whack as fuck. So I want to hear what Nicki comes with. I want to see Nicki really earn her stripes. Shit. You know what I'm saying? What's up? I want to see it. I'm here for it from a hip-hop perspective. But in the, female energy perspective, because we talk about the larger conversation on this show. You did. Correct. So that fakeness is some shit that I've seen my entire life when it comes to women who are supposedly friends. You understand what I'm saying? Every woman that I've ever been with in my life, with the exception of my wife, has had a friend who has hit on me. Every single one. You understand what I'm saying? That says a lot, bro. Every single one has had a friend that has hit on me. That says a lot, because I don't be trying to hit on nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm a very faithful guy. I don't play that, I mean, I'm deadly with that shit. Like, I don't play. I don't give other women compliments. You dig? Like, and I don't let other men be giving my woman, extended compliments like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm real, you know, my friends are my friends, your friends are your friends. We keep that shit real player. You know what I'm saying? I don't even talk to her friends like that. So because of that, though, you know what I'm saying? Because of my prior experience, because these fucking females are devious, bro. Jason Black talks about that. Our good brother Jason Black talks about how cutthroat a lot of these females are. You know what I'm saying? And even my wife, you know, the most unsuspecting of all of them, you know what I'm saying? Who was it? One of her friends' mom had asked her, like before we got married. So, you know, you're about to get married, everything's going well. Nobody started getting jealous and acting out yet. She's like, oh, why would you say that? Like my wife is very innocent, you know, when it comes to a lot of this stuff. And lo and behold, you know what I'm saying? Not even, oh boy, like, yo, my wife has lost a couple friends. Females just straight up just stopped talking to her. You know what I'm saying? Like, just straight up just stopped and started acting funny. You know, other people just acting out. Some people jumped out the window and all she did was get married.
That's what's supposed to happen, though. That's what's supposed to happen.
It's insane.
Because even with me, like with BZ and Kate, you know, they're married, and I have a lot of married friends, but I don't interact with them because I always had like this mentality of level of I don't interact with married couples like that because I'm on the single stage that I've always been on.
No doubt.
During that time, I've been on that level. So I was like, from a single perspective, dealing with my married friends back in the days, that was not something that I wanted to do because then it would curate this type of insecurity subconsciously, not saying that they would do something, but when something was to go down, because nothing is perfect, but if something was to go down and now I'm single and he's married, it looks funny style, like, nigga, is you trying to do some single shit? You know what I'm saying? So I understood. I remember
it's called avoiding the very appearance impropriety. Don't even let anyone even miss and catch.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct. So that's why I got that game from elders when I was younger. You know, they were teaching me the game about when people are married, you know, you try not to dwell amongst the married people, even though my married friends would be like, no, come on, it's cool. It just didn't feel right for me. And it also gives me motivation to get to the married level. Because I always tell them, I say, hey, when I get married, I'm hanging with y'all. So find some shit for me and my wife to do, because we coming to go, you know, party with y'all. So that was my mentality.
You be there soon? You'll be there soon?
Yeah. I'll definitely be there soon.
But, bro, you just said a mouthful, dog. Like, that's something that people, going back to taking people seriously, you know, your mate is someone that you should take dead seriously. You know what I'm saying? Your relationship with your significant other, you know, hopefully they mature to be your wife. That's something you should take deadly seriously. And a lot of these people, they play around with that. You know what I'm saying? I got people out here that I know that they're married, and one of the people is a serial cheater. You know what I'm saying? People out here that are married, that are always getting their ass beat. Well, you're not taking your marriage seriously or your partner seriously. You know what I'm saying? And even like you said, with some of the interactions, you know, all my dogs who are married, I see their wives, daps and church hugs. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Even the way that I refer to them, you know, I had to check one of my homeboys about that. Good friend of mine from, you know, way back. You know, he was talking to my wife, baby. You don't call my wife baby. You know what I'm saying? And she wasn't my wife at the time. But just, you know, I had to, hey, brother, you know, no, we don't do that. And it's just kind of the way he talks.
Let's make that U-turn, right.
Yeah, but you just kind of got to course correct because, you know, if you don't, then it could be something else the next time and the next time, and it just keeps building. I'm a firm believer you nip shit in the bud. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I
if you check it early, you don't have to go see when you catch it when it's small. It's no bit. It's just a slight little nudge. But if you let it miss and grow, now you got to go upside the head. It's got to become World
gotta
War
be
III,
careful.
where if you just caught it in the early stages,
Mhm.
and that's why I don't like when people try to always downplay certain things, or when, oh, it's not that big of a deal.
No, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And
It's not that big of a deal yet. If I
yeah,
don't say something to address it now, then it will become a big deal. So this is called prevention, and not even an ounce, a little tiny teaspoon of prevention is worth a whole metric ton of cure.
real
Why we
talk.
got to why we got to chug the Robitussin where we can just take our vitamins and eat our fruits and veggies? Why
There you
we got to do
go.
that? Why?
You know that, dude, it's real. And like just on a very basic level, I even started this before, dealing with my wife, or like a few years back, something really opened my eyes. I was working at Bell South, and I gave this girl a hug, and this other behemoth, this other wildebeest went to HR. She went to HR on me, saying that she felt offended, and filed a sexual harassment claim against me because I gave another girl a hug. This was about 3 days after they had the first sexual harassment training. And this is when I realized that some of these women want to weaponize their femininity against men that they dislike. Because I just gave this girl a hug. It had nothing to do with this fucking, troglodyte. Nothing whatsoever to do with her. She went and reported me talking about I sexually harassed her. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, I got to fall back on how friendly I am with women in general. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And over the years, I just became more and more refined in that. And even then, there were other women, because I've always been a very friendly person. Other women would tell me, oh, some of the things that, you say or whatever, I have felt uncomfortable with you before. I'm like, shit, I didn't even know that. You know what I'm saying? And like, I really started dialing it back, because you don't ever want to make someone else feel uncomfortable, or, like you're trying to hit on them. And I totally wasn't, but perception for a lot of people is reality. And a lot of people are running around unhealed and dealing with all sorts of trauma that they faced their whole lives. Some people were molested. I know a female I used to know back in the day. She was molested from the time she was 6 till she was like 13 or 14, regularly by the same person. And it was a family member. You understand what I'm saying? Wow. So whenever guys would give her compliments or tell her she's looking sexy, it would make her feel offended. Not that the guy was necessarily wrong, but you have to understand a person's form of reference point. That they're looking through, their vantage point, if you will. You got to understand that their frame of reference. To you, you're just saying, hey, you look beautiful, you look sexy, whatever. To her, that's a throwback. Maybe this person who used to molest her said that shit to her. You understand what I'm saying? You're triggering her. That doesn't necessarily make you wrong, but when it comes to women, especially, 1 in 4 Black women, I think, have been molested in life. You know what I'm saying? So we have to, when we're approaching things and when we're talking to them in any type of, extracurricular manner, we have to be very careful and very mindful. And that was a lesson that I had to learn. I learned it a long time ago, but man, did it pay dividends, because I know other people who got caught up, lost their jobs, just because of some slick shit they said, some out of the way shit. I know another kid, he lost his job because he sexually harassed a man. You know what I'm saying? Because, that was the way that it was written up at the end of the day. But he said something, kind of derogatory about the fact that he was suspected of being gay. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So you gotta really watch how you talk to and interact with people. Especially, when it's people of the other sex or people of a different sexual persuasion. I found that out, and boy, listen, it's real out here. You know what I'm saying? I say this to all the gentlemen out there. That's a big man law. When you're talking to somebody's lady or whatever, it's cool to be cool. You know what I'm saying? But make sure you have your boundaries up. Don't be too damn friendly. And leave the pet names at the door. You did.
Mhm.
Daps and church hugs, nigga. Daps and church.
Less is more.
Yeah, less is more. That shit can go left real quick. You know what I'm saying?
I think when you have those type of boundaries, it says a lot because they're the same type of boundaries that you apply to your children.
Yes.
I was not a father. I wasn't a biological father for my stepchildren, but from day one, they call me Mr. Anthony.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It was always respect from day one because that was instilled from day one. Even to this day, when they see me out, they still call me Mr. Anthony.
That's what's
and they're
up.
grown. You know what I'm saying? When you are aligning and setting boundaries early for these children, they don't normally go off the rails during their latter years because you always kept them online with the boundaries. It's kind of like you at a bowling alley, you throwing up the side rails for them. They're going to hit the stripe. They ain't going to go in the gutter. And that's what you do with the boundaries. You set them up so that way they can always be successful and not fall off the track and into the gutter. And I think a lot of people don't know boundaries, and that's why a lot of these children grow up over the tracks and not on it. You know what I'm saying? So it says a lot when you see people like that. And that's goes back to this topic of who you take serious. Whenever you're dating somebody and you see how they're with their children, then you can operate and pretty much get a general gist of how that person is. And if they're not operating with their children in a way of setting boundaries, then that's not a person that you would want to take serious. And might as well get up out of there before it ends up being too late for you.
Excellent. Excellent.
I did want to get off into our Dare Men for the night. So we're definitely going to get into our next segment real quick. I know we got to get up out of here shortly. But Dare Men, all right? I think this was pretty good because I had a lot of feedback on, and I got to start doing more of that. So we're definitely going to start posting more of that. So we'll start looking out for that on the page. So Dare Men, all right? So we had the question. Let me pose the question and then I can go into what I can go into the scenario. So I said, if you, as a husband, advise your wife not to do something and she goes against your wishes, the final results ended up being fatal towards your child. Is that good enough reason for that husband to file a divorce? What made me come up with that is this scenario right here. Anonymous. I informed my husband the past weekend that I wanted a divorce, and he said, okay. Neither one of us have been happy since the passing of our 19-year-old son last summer. Our son was killed in a car wreck, and my husband blamed me. He thought it was a bad idea to buy him a sports car, and he was against it from day one. He wanted a Mustang, and I bought him a GT when my husband told me not to. My husband suggested a 6-cylinder. My son begged, and I gave in like a mother would. He was the only child, so we tried to compensate him with gifts along with unconditional love. Him and his friend were racing on the interstate when he lost control of the car and was thrown from it. He was killed instantly. It's been hard on everyone, and he immediately blamed me. That night, all he kept saying was, it's your fault, it's your fault. The last 8 months have been rough. I lost 30 pounds, I can't eat, and I wouldn't put this type of pain on anyone. Not only had I lost my son, I'm about to lose my husband. 23 years of pure happiness gone down the drain. We don't sleep in the room. Some nights he don't come home. He's putting his death on me because I didn't listen to him. I lost a son as well. This hurts. I'm crying just writing this post. I just need someone. I needed someone to vent to because I don't appreciate being blamed for my son's death. He's not trying to fight for our marriage. He told me that I'm dead to him. All I want is my husband and my son back. When I presented him the papers, he didn't hesitate. He signed it immediately. My question to you is, do you think my marriage can be saved or is it gone? He said he doesn't want me and I am dead. If I died today, he'd be at peace. He tells me, who tells their wife that? Any advice? I know I'm all over the place. And that's why I say, going back to it, is if you're a husband and advise your wife not to do something and she goes against your wishes, the final results ended up being has been fatal towards your child. Is that a good enough reason for that husband to file a divorce? And fellas, you guys can take it over.
Wow. That's deep. I mean,
Man,
look,
that's heavy.
at the end of the day, is this, man. Real talk. Depending on the person that is the deciding person, it can go either way. Because look, I get what he's saying about, the wife buying the son a sports car, whatever the case may be, but you can die in a regular car. You know what I'm saying? You could die in a car accident if you're just going to drive recklessly. That is not necessarily the reason that he died in the car accident, just because he had a sports car, you know. But since this man fit the short answer to what she's saying, no, her marriage cannot be saved. She needs to just leave it be. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because this man is saying all type of hateful shit. If you died today, I'd be at peace and all that shit. You don't say things like that to somebody that you still love. He said he's over her, and he is. He hates her because of that. Because even though it's not true that is specifically the reason why he died in the accident, in his mind, he's already made up his mind. That's what it is.
Correct.
You can't salvage that shit. So the short answer is no, you can't save your marriage. You need to just move on. It's a heartbreaking story, but that's just what it is. He's decided that he's going to be unforgiving, and he's just not going to allow you any grace. And when someone has reached that point, there's nothing you can do. You've done the best you can. Yeah.
And I would say this, and then I'd send it over to Bobby. I think the real reason why he's so hurt, and I think a lot of people don't understand, when a man loses a son, he loses his legacy.
That's true.
Man carries on his legacy. The last name is carried through your son. Your daughter changes her name to her husband, but the man carries the legacy on. And I think that's what hurts, especially being the only child. That was his legacy that he was thinking was going to be carried on throughout his son. And now he doesn't have any son left. And that, I think, was the real hurt behind it.
Mm-hmm. Real talk.
Go ahead, Bob.
I agree with what you said, Major. There's no salvaging this. This was done. Mm-hmm. I'd say probably as soon as that car exploded, that's when the marriage exploded as well too.
Yeah.
This is a rough patch that they're both going to have to heal from individually. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be able to heal together. And, it's rough dealing with the death of a child anyways. I know all bets have been off for quite some time now, but still, a parent is not supposed to have to bury their child.
Exactly.
It's supposed to be the children burying the grandparents, burying the parents. As a parent, you're not supposed to have to go with your wife or go with the mother or father of your child and pick out a casket together. Talking about last wishes. What clothes are you going to put on them? What songs are going to be played for the funeral? What you're going to put in the eulogy? Who are you going to name? You're not supposed to have to do that.
Correct.
And there's a lot of marriages that don't make it, even if it's not necessarily the fault, quote unquote, of any parent. If it's just something that happens randomly, drive by or an accident in school or something, or drowning in a lake, allergic reaction or something. There's some marriages that simply can't recover from that period when there's no one to blame. Yeah. And so when you factor in a situation like this, that only just ratchets that level of difficulty up to the nth degree. So my condolences to both the parents and the family. That's the definition of rough. There's not too many things that you can go through that's more hard than that.
Yeah.
In addition to that, because I do believe that there is a teachable moment here, and I feel that that boy would be best honored if his sacrifice wasn't gone in vain, if there's an opportunity where something can be learned or growth can occur from the situation. At least it doesn't have to be a total loss. There can be something that's gained, because unfortunately, sometimes it takes difficult situations like this for points to get driven home. But if it can happen, let it happen. Ladies,
Definitely. Definitely.
I ain't got no kid
wholeheartedly-
gloves on. I ain't got no sugar on the coat. Nothing. I'm about to go up the ass. Pause. Do not repeat. Do not go about trying to pigeonhole and push men, your potential partners, into traditional boxes, talking about you want and will not settle for less than a man that protects and provides. Do not do it if you are not willing to abide by that provision and that protection. Do not do it.
Real talk.
Yikes.
That was not just her son, that was that man's son as well.
True.
Correct.
The boy wanted that car. Mama said yes. Father put his foot down and said no.
Mm-hmm.
That should have been the end of the conversation. We go
Agreed.
no further than this. That should have
Agreed.
been it.
Correct.
Mhm.
I don't care how much guilt tripping he put on. I don't care if old boy shot for the moon and got straight A's. He got A pluses. He got scores so high they had to reinvent the grading scale to give him a brand new grade to make up for the marks he was getting. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Father said no. The answer is no.
Truth.
Mhm.
He should not have been able to go to her behind his pop's back, because obviously he didn't do it while he was standing right there, and say whatever and use the magical words and go Harry Potter, and boom, voila, get himself that car. Shouldn't have happened.
Correct.
Agreed.
A
And
father
that's-
is not going to withhold any good thing. Shay Biblical talk. A father is not going to withhold any good thing from his child that he loves.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He knows his son.
True.
Mhm.
You know you know your children. If you know your children. Notice it
Correct.
said that she gave in because he begged the plea, and not because, well, she didn't say, well, because he had done so well, or he had, no, because he begged the right way. That's how he was able to get it. Not because he earned it per se. Pop said no because he knew his son.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew
Yeah.
damn well if his son got behind the wheel, it was going to be some tomfoolery and shenanigans, and it was going to be some actions that, no fault against him, but he's a kid.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He knows his son. And sure enough, and I'm not blaming her,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
but sure enough, son got the car, and he performed, I would imagine, exactly the way his father knew he would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Mm-hmm.
What
Correct.
you did, and the reason why that man hates you, why he despises you, why there's no reconciliation possible,
Mm-hmm.
is because he did what he knew was the right move to protect his family, to protect
Yeah.
his son.
Mm-hmm.
And by you basically spitting on his protection, undermining him in his house, to his child on top of that,
Mm.
going around him and emasculating him in that fashion, you completely render his protection neutralized.
I agree.
Correct.
And as a result, you lost your child, he lost his son.
Mm-hmm.
You made that man feel utterly inadequate and a failure because
Yeah.
he felt he was not able to do enough to protect his child. You
Mhm.
robbed him of that.
I agree.
There's no way that he can forgive you for that. If you are not, you have to understand what protection is. Sometimes, ladies, and if you're a parent, you should be able to understand. If you're a mother, you should be able to understand this. Protection, and we've spoken about this on this show before as well too.
Mhm.
Protection isn't just pulling out the gun or jumping in front of a bullet or throwing hands with the ops. Most commonly, protection looks like the word no. No, babe, I don't like that outfit on you. Can't go out in that. No, babe, we can't go out. No, babe, don't go out with those friends. You know how they get this time of night under these circumstances.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, babe. I hear what you're saying. The answer's still no.
Mhm.
Sometimes protection is a word that begins with N and ends with O. The father
Yeah.
understood the assignment and he did that. You came and you cut him off at the kneecaps. And now, unfortunately, your family's had to pay the ultimate price for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's real.
How could he ever trust you again?
That's real.
Yeah.
We have to understand it's not, and that's why the whole concept of submission, this back and forth that we've seen for the last several years about submission. Here's the thing. Even if you don't subscribe to the concept of submission, you think that it's outdated, it's patriarchal, if that's a bad thing, anyways, or if it's some sort of sexist, misogynist, whatever. But we all understand the characteristics of a man who would be considered worthy of submission. Even if you don't buy into submission, why would you not want to be with, or why would you accept less than a man who is worthy of submission if you were going to implement it? Part of which being a man who's intelligent and makes sound decisions and sound judgment. If you can't trust your husband when he says no, why are you with him?
Yeah.
Real talk.
Why are you with someone that you can't listen to, who you can't heed, who you can't learn from?
Mhm.
Why would you do that?
That's real.
Just so you can have someone in your bed, just so you can have some in-house dick?
Mhm. Well, see, this is the thing too, Bob. This is the thing. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. But see, this is the thing. As much as I do agree with you on that, you know what I'm saying? But by the same token, when she pulled that little slick shit, if he felt that strongly about it, he should have laid down the hammer. This shit going back to the dealership. You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it is still on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, my wife would never do no shit like that. But if I felt that strongly about something, yeah, it's going back. You know what I'm saying? And you have to make it that clear. You know what I'm saying? It's very sad, but you make a very valid point. That's why he hates her so much, because this, even though, like I said, it could have happened in any car, the likelihood was probably greater of it happening in that car. And he knows his kid, whatever the case may be. And he could just see that train wreck happening. But her defiance, and this is probably the number one problem that modern women have, that defiance, that rebellious spirit, you know, it just shoots him in the foot every time. No man is interested in that shit. You know what I'm saying? Men are not interested in a woman who don't listen. And when you start talking about something that has those type of ramifications, yeah, he's gonna hate you forever. You know what I'm saying? You need to be glad he ain't set your ass up. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk, you know, the way he talks about her, you need to be glad he ain't put a bullet in you. You need to just keep it pushing, man. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
I'd be curious to know if there was a conversation like that. Obviously, this wouldn't necessarily be the that letter that was sent wouldn't have been the time to address that. It would be curious to find out what the conversations were like in the household after that car magically appeared in the driveway. But going back to that other post that we were talking about before, unfortunately, we have a lot of men who will just simply, when their woman decides that they want to cut up, they'll just accept it for the sake of creating peace. They'll do that and they'll just bow down and cat, which I don't agree with whatsoever at all. If you feel that strongly about it, say something about it. But you have a lot of men that will sit back and just, quote unquote, eat the frog for the sake of peace. Well, she did it. Well, she gonna do whatever she wants to do, period. And I would advise those men, if you have a woman that does not listen, do not marry her. If she can't follow your lead, we talk about signs before marriage. If she is not willing to follow your lead now before you all get the ring, Ain't nothing magical about their ring.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to magically change. We've seen all the time dudes believe that, oh, once I get married, that's going to make me a faithful man. I need to get married so I can, become faithful. They'll go out and raw dog the bridesmaid the night of the wedding. They don't do nothing. If she wasn't listening, if she wasn't cooperating before y'all said I do, she's going to be worse now because there's nothing for her to even earn anymore now. She doesn't have to worry about, butchering her odds. She's in the clear. She's good. The representative is on vacation now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's that's one of the reasons why men in the household produce better children than single women, because of the simple fact of the leadership that you just seen. Even though they're married, you see the leadership from the father and how that leadership and that mentality was really trying to save that child, which most men in the household do try to do things in the protection of everybody under that household. And then you see women, they're just give in to whatever their child does just for the sake of doing it for good faith. And that's why you have these unbalance of statistics when it comes to single fathers outdoing single mothers. And that's not no shade to nobody. We're just letting you know the balance of order and how the masculinity and the guidance and the protection is needed within every household. So I just wanted to point that out. I know we talked about this tragic incident with the child, and I think it was last weekend here in South Florida, we had 3 children that died. Well, I don't want to say children, but they're young adults. The third person dies as a result of a fiery Biscayne Park crash. I don't know if you guys heard about that. 3 young men were in a Tesla going down 119th and Biscayne, and they were kind of speeding, and it got caught on a ring camera from somebody's house. And then as soon as the car went by, it was all you heard was a loud crash, and that Tesla burst into flames. One of the young adults got trapped in the back. The other 2 flew out. And that was more than a week after a Fury crash rocked the Biscayne Park neighborhood. Third person has succumbed to their injuries. Authorities say 23-year-old Aaron Kamari Gaynor died in a crash when a Kia model electric vehicle crashed on Northeast 119th Street near 5th Ave, January 15th. I think that was a Tesla. I don't think it was a Kia, because I seen the Tesla. First responders rushed 22-year-old Trevante Allen to HCA Florida Aventura Hospital in the moments after the crash. He was later pronounced dead by the doctors later that day. Allen and the third man, 28-year-old Julio Campos, were both ejected from the vehicle. Campos has been clinging on to life in the critical conditions at Jackson Memorial Hospital, Hospital Ryder Trauma Center, until word came in Tuesday that he also died of his injuries. And I just want to show the pictures of these young individuals who, their lives came to a short stop. Here is, this is Campos, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I believe this is Campos right here. This is his picture, young adult. He's actually 28. And here is the other one. This is Trevante Allen. And the third one is Aaron Kamari Garner. That's condolences to the family members, to the mothers, because I think 2 mothers, well, I know one mother is on my post. I think his mother is on my post. And I know her, and she's cool. And when I tell you, when a mother loses a child, man, their lives don't never be the same anymore. And you got 3 women who lost their children. These women will never be the same anymore. So I just wanted to say condolences My condolences to all the families involved. Um, you know, if you are a young adult and you're watching this, whether you're a male or a woman, um, please, just make sure that you are able to talk to your friends and say, hey, slow down. I don't feel comfortable riding at this speed. Anything that you feel like can endanger the lives of all three of y'all, be vocal about it. And if you're that friend listening to the other friend, take what they say into consideration, because we don't want, incidents like this to happen any further. Um, and it's just a sad situation. All right. So I just wanted to pay my respects to these family members who have lost some very talented young men at a very young age that had so much more life for them in the future.
Mhm.
All right. Ashe, ashe. Going into our next segment, which is the crown check. And tonight's crown check is this young lady. She is meet the 21-year-old who became the first Black U.S. figure skater to win the Grand Pixel medal since 1995. 21-year-old becomes the first Black U.S. figurine skater to win International Grand Prix medal. A silver medal marks another historic moment for Black women. On October 29th, Skate Canada in Ontario announced that the 21-year-old Star Andrews is her name as the first U.S. Black figure skater to win an International Skating Union ISU Grand Prix medal in the series histories that date back to 1995. As you read into it, I thought this was super dope. She says, I've gone into this year with a different mindset, trying not to be so caught up in my head. And I think when you change your mindset, a lot of great things come to you. And I thought that was so superb that a young 21-year-old young girl would say something like that. And hopefully those words would inspire other young girls to change your mentality. And once you do that, you can accomplish anything that you want to do. She also goes on to say, it definitely paid off. And even though a season didn't start off so strong, I was still getting used to my programs. Andrew Freeskate's performance was beautifully pieced and showed off her mature skating skills, executing 6 triple jumps and a difficult double axel triple combination. The skater chose Belgian singer Laura Fabian rendition of I can't even pronounce that. I ain't gonna lie to you. As the music, as the music to complement her routine. I think it's a huge deal to be a woman of color in a figure skating. I'm so proud, and I could represent bringing home the medal even more special.
Wow.
And shout out to her. Shout out to Miss Andrews for doing something phenomenal and being a trendsetter and changing that mindset to accomplish what she set out to accomplish. With that being said, I turn it over to you guys, and you guys can leave us out.
Yes, sir. Real quick, man, because we got to get out of here. But real quick, man, maintain your integrity. Don't ride the fence. Don't straddle the fence. Maintain your integrity. Be people, who are deliberate and who stand behind what you say that people can take seriously. It's a thing, man. It really, really speaks volumes. Because at the end of the day, all people have to judge you by is your character. Correct. You understand? And character is everything. If your character ain't on point, nobody can vouch for you. And correct. You said after a while, nobody takes you seriously. And those people that you can take seriously, I want to urge everybody to get behind those people and give them all the support you can, because there's so many phony assholes running around here, charlatans trying to come up on people. It's ridiculous. because so many people are realizing that you can get over on people. They're realizing how breathtakingly stupid people are and how void of leadership people are. And they know that you can just get over on people. You can sell them a dream. You can sell people snake oil and they buying it. You understand what I'm saying? But I want to go back to that scripture I quoted earlier. Cursed is he who leads the blind into darkness. You know, at the end of the day, I've really tried to be patient with some of you fraud ass motherfuckers out there. And it's just not going to happen anymore. It's just, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really can't. I'm going to do my best to be cordial, but my God, you know, we got to do something about all these phony, fake ass people out here because they're dangerous and they're misleading people. And that's just not something that we can afford as a community right now. And I'll end my plane. That's really all I have to say.
Well said. Well said. Bobby, take us out.
Right there with you, Major. You have to be mindful nowadays. At some point, and I said this to some people this week, at some point, we have to get to the difficult business of actually adulting. It is not enough to simply reach a big old age, to hit your 20th year of life, your 30th year of life, your 40th, your 50th, your 60th, your 80th. It's not enough to just have numbers on the chalkboard and you are not out here doing the work. Being an adult is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't tell us this when we were kids growing up. All we wanted to do was just grow up because we didn't want to listen to our parents no more. We were tired of going to school. We wanted to, have fun. We wanted to be like the grown-ups. They just get to go in their cars and drive and do whatever and have fun. They don't got to answer nobody. Horse shit. The finest manure on the black market available.
Mm-hmm.
No. We have bills to pay now. We're responsible for ourselves. We don't have people looking over our shoulders. And there's a whole bunch of grace and leeway we get. Miss and cut up once, and that's the hammer on your ass in many cases. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody's looking to give us cut us any breaks or any slack either.
Mm-hmm.
Being an adult is difficult. It is hard. However, because it's hard isn't a pass to just go ahead and just do nothing and just wilt. No. You got to put on your big girl drawers, your big boy drawers, and you got to do the damn work. That means when you have trauma, when you have issues, you got to go ahead and fix that. That means if there's a knowledge deficit, you got to go and do the due diligence and build your knowledge up, get your wisdom up. You have to discern, you have to determine who is worth listening to and who's not worth listening to. You can't simply just sit back and say, well, I was tricked, I was deceived, I didn't know any better. That's not good enough in this age of information. Every last one of us has a literal supercomputer in our hands. A literal supercomputer. You have the internet available. You have Google. You have DuckDuckGo. You've got all manner of search engines. You have Wikipedia. You have all kind of access to periodicals and stuff from all over the planet that you can use to find information. There's no excuse anymore. You have to do the hard work. And the beautiful part is the sooner you start doing it, the easier it gets.
Mm-hmm.
And once you start putting in that work, you're going to start seeing the results. That might mean you have an easier time raising your children. It might mean you have better interactions with the opposite sex. It might mean you get promotions on your job or you're able to get along with your coworkers better. It might mean access to new opportunities, new places, new spaces.
Mm-hmm.
But sitting back and just refusing to grow up, to be in the state of a perpetual toddler, that's not going to cut it. And the world we're living in now in 2024, those toddlers, those giant-sized toddlers, every week they're getting a new shot to the head. You have the choice before you. Who do you want to be? Don't worry about who you are right now. Who do you want to be? And who is going to take you in that direction? What are the voices? What are the sources that you could turn to that's going to help to change your behavior, change your mindset, and lead you to where you're trying to get to? That's the direction you need to go into. Hopefully it's the right one. If not, you'll get what's coming to you sooner or later. We all will get what's coming to us sooner or later. Good, bad, and everything in between. Best of luck to you. Next week, same place, earlier time. We'll be here. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Tell somebody to tell somebody about these somebodies up here. All we try and do is remake the culture, reshape the society. Bit by bit, it starts with you. Partner with us, link with us. We love y'all.
Yay.
Love y'all. Be safe, be easy. We'll see you guys back here next week. Shout out to Major for giving us our new backdrop for the year.
Yay.
We said it was coming. It's fire. Now we're waiting on the storm, and I hope you guys love it.
Yeah.
I hope you guys love it. So we love y'all, and we can't wait for this year to show y'all what we got. It's just getting bigger and better every day as we go. All right. Love y'all. Peace. Be easy.
Hey. Not a gang. Yeah.
On the album, we do things like songs that are a little, what we call sexy. You can see from the title, it's more of a love album.